All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our Fall 26 part-time faculty check-in. We understand how busy your schedules are, so we've tried our best to structure sessions like these to be concise, to be about 30 minutes, half an hour, to make sure you have everything you need, and not only to start the semester off right, but to continue through and have some resources given to you as we move along. We'll share these resources out to you after this video is over with, and then you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions of us at any point throughout the semester. You can drop in Fictal, and we'll talk about those a little bit more in detail. But first, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the team supporting you through the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning. I'm Chris. I'm the coordinator here in the Faculty Center. We also have Russell Carpenter, who's on the call. And who's not on the call, we have Perry Winslow, who's director of FCT&L initiatives in our space. So our role through the FCT&L and throughout supporting you as instructors is to be your advocates, help with being a sounding board if you need consultation or observation or advice, and as well as being a resource hub. So we have various guides, we have various opportunities for you to come into the FCT&L or join us asynchronously or synchronously to help you with teaching and help support you along the way. And I'd also like to briefly mention across all of our programs, you might be teaching in different formats. It could be a full 16-week term, it could be 8 weeks or 7 weeks, whatever the modality is. Regardless of the delivery or the term length or the modality, whatever you want to call it, our primary goal in supporting you is also supporting the students. So student persistence, and we also believe that's driven by active engagement. Lectures aren't inherently bad, but if you can incorporate collaborative activities, real world applications such as our essential skills, which if you haven't learned about, hopefully you'll have an opportunity to do so soon, and low stakes checks for understanding or being able to collaborate with the students in a manner in which they understand and learn effectively. I also want to mention or highlight Canvas, our relatively new LMS. It's been integrated, but use that to your advantage. Keep due dates visible for students. Organize material in a clean manner if you can. I've noticed a lot of instructors shifting to this weekly module approach to where they're categorizing their content and shaping it in a weekly format across the 16 weeks or 7 weeks or whatever it may be. So I would suggest you do that. And use the announcements feature. It's really simple, keeping communication consistent to your students across the term. I'd also like to remind you that you don't necessarily have to support students by yourself. As I mentioned before, the Faculty Center has a wide variety of resources available. We're also prepared to help co-create experiences alongside you as instructors. So we take feedback both from you and your students very seriously, and we want to support you along the way. Eastern also has other great resources I would encourage you to encourage your students to dive into. For example, we have academic support centers. We have the Knoll Studio for academic creativity. Oftentimes, students will come into this space to get help with communication or writing projects or brainstorming. We also have the Student Success Center here in the library, and that's more so for tutoring and mentoring. And then we also have the STEM Excellence Center. I would also encourage you all to put standard referral language into your syllabi or syllabus. We share out via EKU Today, and we also have some resources we can send to you with language that might be helpful for you and how you deliver that or share that with your students. Ideally, we want students and we want you all to normalize asking for help, especially the students as they're coming in. If they're first year students or if they're just new to your discipline, we want them to feel comfortable in asking for those support services. And then I also want to talk about first day drop. I would encourage you to, of course, take attendance immediately on day one, submitting the students who aren't in attendance promptly in a quick manner to make sure they're cleared from that, seats remain open. It also helps them out that way in case they aren't attending, they're not missing deadlines and due dates and maybe inadvertently accruing some debt. So be sure to make yourself aware of that first day drop. Um, oh, and then our student assistance and intervention team, we often call that SAIT for short. If you see a student who maybe has been participating that has lessened or has stopped participating, maybe after week two they go away or they disappear. They're not in class. You don't see them. Maybe they exhibit emotional distress. We would encourage you to submit a referral to the Say It team. We can give you the resource and the links to do so. It connects them with multiple campus support options. And ideally, we want to hit what could be a small issue before it turns into a larger issue, or the student leaves, or the student isn't able to persist. We want to try to acknowledge that soon and as quick as we can. And with that, I think I will turn it over to Rusty.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. Um, we're all preparing for the fall semester, and we're going to share some ideas and recommendations to ensure that your first day and your first week are highly successful. You have an incredible opportunity to engage students from the outset. So, setting the tone of a warm, supportive, academic environment for your students is crucial. Set the tone early, welcome students to the class, begin to learn their names, and begin learning the many ways that they can contribute to a productive dialogue in the class. That is, engage students actively. And while the syllabus is such a crucial document and a resource for students, think about ways that you can encourage students to get to know one another and get to know you from the first day of class. The way that you set the tone on that first day, the ways that you're communicating with students can really build the assurance that we are here to support students. We're here to support and encourage their learning from the outset. Consider the ways that you can use these first days of class to build the kind of community that is conducive to learning. Think about sharing who you are as a teacher, as a scholar, and also allowing students to introduce themselves and to get comfortable with this potentially new educational environment. You want to take this opportunity to build confidence as students move in to their first assignment or academic discussions later in the class. So build that foundation from the outset. And importantly, we're also excited about the course content that we are teaching or the work and the learning that can happen in our disciplines. Create excitement for course content. Why are you interested in this course content? Why do you think students should be interested as well? What essential skills will students gain or learn or practice through this course and through the course content? How was the course designed? Why does it matter for our students? Our students are so incredibly committed to learning and to being here and to working alongside and learning alongside our faculty members. We want to share that excitement with our students from the outset. Consider the ways that you can actively engage students on that first day while building in kind of the frameworks that you'll need in order for students to be successful. And also, importantly, students tell us that communication is critical. Send them a welcome email in the days leading to class, introduce yourself, encourage them to reach out to you, let them know the best channel, the best communication channel in which to reach out to you, and also ensure that the class expectations are transparently shared with students. What are the responsibilities? What are the learning assessments, and why are you assessing learning in this way? And also make it apparent to students how they can participate, engage, and also perform successfully in the class. Students will be looking for you to make that clear, to make that transparent from the outset. For your particular assignments, think about the purpose and the task and the criteria that you'll use to assess learning. In much the same way, make that accessible and available to students from the early days of the class. The first day in the week and the first week is an opportunity to set the kind of productive tone and welcoming tone that we need in order for students to be successful. With that said, Chris and I will share several resources that we have assembled for you. And also in the video and the resources that we share after, we'll ensure that there is a link to the compilation of resources that we have designed to ensure that you're successful as you begin classes. So these are really designed as startup resources. As you're planning your class, you want to acknowledge that EKU has a syllabus policy. Many of you might already be familiar with that repository and the depth of information that we have available for you here. So within that policy, you'll find a good deal of information that should be included in your syllabus. Review the syllabus policy closely as you finalize or update your syllabus for the semester. There are a range of systems that you want to be familiar with as well. The primary system that I want to point you toward is MyEKU. Within MyEKU, you'll see that the system has a faculty area, and you'll see different cards there as well. It is pretty comprehensive, but this is really a go-to for accessing critical course information like your roster and various ways that we assess students as well. So you'll see the faculty area available via your MyEKU, and you want to become kind of familiar with what's available there in advance of classes starting. EKU, of course, is highly committed to supporting students. With that in mind, ensuring that our students are successful is a critical role of our faculty and instructors here across the colleges and departments at the university. Working with a cohort of faculty, we've designed the Pedagogy for Retention Toolkit. I know that you're all very committed to your students. You want to ensure that they're successful. The Pedagogy for Retention Toolkit takes the wide range of pedagogical teaching and learning topics and pulls them together in one database, in one resource or toolkit for you to use to think about the evidence-backed strategies for your classroom or for your learning space. How do we retain students? What does it mean to teach Gen Z students? How do we support them and encourage their learning? What are the practices that we could use? And also the small adaptations or the iterative teaching changes that we can implement to help our students retain in our courses. We all know that feeling of that first learning assessment or that first assignment, or maybe you're giving instructions. And students might respond by saying, well, you want us to do what? Or we don't understand. Or where can I get a little bit more information about this assignment? The Pedagogy for Retention Toolkit is really designed as a one-stop shop for a depth and a range of ideas, many of them cultivated by and tested by EKU faculty who are working alongside students and committed to supporting students. I want to point you specifically to some of what we call the small teaching practices. These are practices that are very achievable within the context of 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or with more commitment, maybe an hour or so. But these can focus on learners and learning, helping students to understand the practices that they can use when learning new content or navigating complex topics or complex assignments that involve multiple steps. I'd encourage you to use the resources available through the Pedagogy for Retention Toolkit. And of course, reach out to us if you have any questions about resources for your particular course at all. The Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning has designed a set of engaging first day and first week activities and also strategies. We've all sat through syllabus day, and all the syllabus content is very important. How can you bring students along and create that kind of excitement that we introduced you to earlier? What does it mean to have an engaging first day? And how can you generate that level of excitement for students from the outset? This packet of resources can kind of guide you and give you some of those small teaching strategies that you can use from the outset. Seeing students encouraged and excited at the outset of a course can set the tone for the remainder of the semester. We'd encourage you to incorporate an early learning assessment. This can be an assignment, a reflection. The critical piece here is that as the semester begins and in the early weeks, students benefit from an early learning assessment wherein you have provided meaningful and substantial feedback to them. This feedback serves as a foundation for learning, for building a collaboration between the instructor and the students, but also gives them a foundation for learning in the course. Fast forward to fourth week progress reports. The fourth week progress report is in many ways an early learning assessment for our students. You're going to have the opportunity to provide students with feedback on their learning progression in the course. It's far more impactful for both instructors and for students if that fourth week progress report is based on an early learning assessment, something that is meaningful, something that is substantial, and wherein you've provided support-oriented feedback to students. Students are going to be set up for success at that fourth week progress report marker, or you will be able to use that point to connect them with those academic resources that Chris introduced you to earlier once you're submitting progress reports. So please encourage your students learning from the outset and design that early learner-oriented feedback into the course early on as you get into week 2 or week 3. I mentioned support-oriented feedback. Support-oriented feedback can come in many forms. We want to encourage a growth mindset in our students. Reinforce what's going well. What are the positive habits that students can repeat or translate or transfer to a range of academic scenarios? If students can make changes early on and you can help them recognize better habits of learning or better habits of mind, students are more likely to persist. So that early support-oriented feedback encourages students, it provides them examples, and also gives them a foundation for learning and your expectations in the course. Importantly, also the ways that they can be successful. So think about ways that you can provide that early learner-oriented or support-oriented feedback in the course and to encourage that important growth mindset. Help students scaffold learning and move toward more complex assignments as the semester progresses. The Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning is here to support you. Chris and I will share a variety of resources where you can go in and you can click and access templates and guides to ensure that your course is successful this semester, and at the same time that you're setting both a productive tone, but also creating excitement that ensures that students are welcome and that you are there to support their learning this semester. So, with that, we're very excited to work with you and to welcome you back for the academic year. And please do not hesitate to reach out to the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning at FCT&L at eku.edu if there's anything that we can do to support a successful start to the fall semester. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we're looking forward to working with you this fall. Thank you, everyone.